obviously got to hear a little bit of details about the show at the Wild West. Well, to people who didn't get to hear about the show, about the missing generation.
So the Missing Generation, it is a dance theater show that is based on oral history interviews that I recorded with longtime survivors of the early AIDS epidemic. So I spent a year traveling the US, and I got to meet one-on-one with longtime survivors from the early part of the epidemic who are trans, gender non-conforming, queer, bisexual, gay, lesbian, and straight allies who either have been positive for 30 plus years, who were early activists, who lost lovers, partners, friends, parents, children, who were early healthcare workers. And I got to ask them about their lives before and during and after the early epidemic. And so what the audience hears is they hear a sound score that contains actual excerpts of those interviews, people's own voices in real time, woven with really gorgeous original music by a team of composers I'm so blessed to get to work with. And then we dance very hard for you all. It's full throttle dance, it's theater, it's storytelling. It's superhuman, it's super accessible. This is not abstract modern dance in gossamer gowns that everyone watches scratching their heads, wondering what the heck this is supposed to mean. It's theatrical, we get it. And I think it really speaks to generations who survived the epidemic, who are elders and people who lived through that time, but also people who are really young and who are not taught about that history. But who know what it means to be LGBT, or who know what it means to be dealing with or loving people who are dealing with death, or struggle, or who know what it means to connect and build community, or to want love, or to have a heart. It's very available to many people. And we're so blessed to be here at Kelly Strayhorn as part of our 20 City Tour.
One last question before you have to go, because I know you have to eat before your dress rehearsal, you need to be furnished. This is obviously a heavy, heavy topic. What are some of the emotions that you feel on stage when performing this number?
Yeah, there obviously are a lot of intense stories and voices that inspired the work, that really drove my choices as a writer and choreographer in the work. So we are dealing with a huge reason I entered this project, and the calling I had around it was the fact that our culture has really turned its back on longtime survivors of the early AIDS epidemic, and especially does not ever talk about, or we don't learn or talk about the fact that so many trans people, especially trans women of color, those communities were decimated by the early epidemic. And so for me, this project is about really attending to and attuning ourselves to longtime survivors. So that means there are a lot of deep emotions, grief, sadness, there's trauma there. So that's true. And I think we also create and hold the work and hold the audience in a way that it's totally safe to go there with each other. And that we also are really bringing in under that just the deep resilience that the human heart holds, LGBT and non-LGBT, and how powerfully healing it can be to allow ourselves to go into our grief and to move through it into healing by connecting in community, which is what we do as we're sitting watching the show, what we're doing as performers on stage. We get to do during Q&A after the show, there'll be receptions after the show. And I also want to mention that all shows at Kelly Strayhorn are Pay What Makes You Happy, which is amazing. So it's super accessible. If what makes you happy is that you are in a position to pay $1, that's great. If you have a trust fund and it makes you happy to pay $100, that's wonderful also. So everyone is so welcome. The most important thing is coming in the room and connecting in the community.
Absolutely. And that is April 8th and April 9th, Friday, Saturday at KST. Hey guys, this is Aria Lynn Copeland of the Aria Lynn Copeland Show, encouraging each and every single one of you watching to come out and see The Missing Generation here live at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater in East Liberty, April 8th and April 9th at 8 p.m. Kelly Strayhorn, East Liberty, and it is Pay What Makes You Happy.